I never played the original Dark Forces, and to be honest, I've never really been into Star Wars. Two things that I am a fan of, however, are Boomer Shooters and Night Dive Studios, who now have another great remaster under their belt with this new release. Initially released in 1995, Dark Forces is one of the many so-called Doom clones that came out during that era of gaming. Much like Raven Software's Heretic, Dark Forces was one of the first FPSs to give the player the ability to look up and down, with Heretic beating Dark Forces to the punch by just a few months. Running in the Jedi engine, Dark Forces was developed and published by LucasArts, and the remaster runs in the Kex engine. If you've played Doom or games like it, the gameplay in Dark Forces is pretty standard. You run around blasting enemies while picking up weapons, ammo, health packs, and shield points. The level design is decent for the most part, but also a bit of a mixed bag. Now, what I mean by this is that I found many levels to be very enjoyable, and that struck a good balance between being somewhat complex, but also not too cumbersome to navigate. However, a few level layouts are pretty bad, to be honest, and some of the navigation puzzles are just annoying and really don't need to be in the game. These issues aside, I did appreciate the aesthetics and the environmental variety that was conjured through the use of several unique textures and skyboxes. As for the weapons, there is a pistol that you never really need to use past the first enemy, as you almost immediately pick up a Stormtrooper rifle. I love the design of the Stormtrooper rifle, especially the audio design, and this thing is useful throughout the entire game, and it just feels fun to use. It is a true workhorse in your arsenal. On top of that, there are a couple of great weapons for dealing with enemies that are bunched up together, these being the thermal detonators, which are the grenades of Dark Forces, as well as the mortar launcher, which is essentially a grenade launcher. Another great option that pairs well with the Stormtrooper rifle, seeing as how it pulls from a different ammo pool, is the repeater rifle, which does high damage and is more accurate at farther distances. What's also great about the repeater rifle is that its secondary fire mode makes it behave more like an energy-based shotgun of sorts. A gun that is even better at long distance is the concussion rifle, which shoots up a large column of energy as it electrifies enemies within its range of splash damage. This means, though, that you gotta be careful with this weapon, because even though it is very damaging, it can be very damaging to you as well. So make sure you're not standing too close to a wall or a corner when you fire it, because you can absolutely damage yourself with it. Aside from these weapons, there are also proximity mines that can be quite useful, as well as a fusion cutter, which I almost never used. The most powerful weapon in the game is the assault cannon, which has a plasma rifle primary fire mode and an alt fire that launches rockets, with each of these fire modes utilizing separate ammo types, which makes this gun pretty based and goated, I would say. The first choice against the Dark Troopers. speaking of Dark Troopers, these are the tankiest enemies in the game, but as long as you make sure to dodge their projectiles, you'll be fine. In fact, the combat in Dark Forces isn't that challenging, especially if you're kind of moving around in a fast zigzag pattern as you're firing, even in the game's many corridors. But the enemy variety is decent enough as you come up against stormtroopers, Imperial officers, droids, and a handful of alien enemies, including some that toss thermal detonators, some that wield concussion rifles, and even the Kell Dragons, which you have to fight with your bare hands in Jabba's palace after you have been captured and stripped of your arsenal. Overall, I did enjoy my time with Dark Forces, despite it definitely being a product of its time. These days, Dark Forces won't blow anyone's mind, but this is an excellent remaster, and I think that at the very least, it is worth experiencing as a historical curiosity for fans of old-school shooters. And with that, thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like and subscribe, and dislike it if you absolutely hated it. As always, enjoy the rest of your day.